I want to talk to you tonight, if you will give me liberty to do so, on the topic of choose life. I was reading the proclamation that President Obama signed on March 31st, 2012. Part of it stated, our nation's children are our hope for the future, and caring for them is one of our greatest responsibilities. During National Child Abuse Prevention Month, we renew our commitment to preventing child abuse and neglect by promoting healthy families, protecting children, and supporting communities throughout our nation. Although a strong family unit is the best deterrent to child abuse, effectively intervening in the lives of children threatened by abuse is a shared responsibility. Strengthening the bonds within the families require community members and leaders to partner with parents. From schools to local social service agencies, we can work together to protect the well-being of our children by recognizing the signs of violence and creating safe, stable, and nurturing environments that safeguard the promise of our future. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Congress didn't put that money in the budget. So we're fighting for money for that. But it's a great promise. But I got to thinking, abuse is the physical, psychological, or social maltreatment, sexual maltreatment of a person or animal. The illegal, improper, or harmful use of something. The illegal or improper, or harmful use of something on somebody. So abuse is abnormal use, would you say? Anyway, let's pretend for just 1 minute that none of these things ever happened. Wouldn't that be great? All right, but if that's true, then we must become what we are capable of becoming, which is a nonviolent person. That sounds good too, doesn't it?
Yep.
Anybody in here ever lost your temper? I know I have. But we have the power to control some things if we allow ourselves to do that. And yet we become angry and boisterous and try to insert our power where it doesn't need to be. So tonight I just want to challenge you to choose life. Let's say that you walked up on a situation in a grocery store. Anybody ever done that? And the situation doesn't look well. You've ever done that? You walked up, a husband is grabbing his wife's arm. The mother is shoving her children into the cart, and we don't say a thing. I've been guilty of it. And yet we are said to be those who stand against abuse. How are we doing as a nation? How are we doing as a community? How are we doing as individuals? In Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, the 19th verse, it says, I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursing. Therefore, choose life. Well, let me share with you some ways we don't choose life. Okay? So you can identify these. When we pay specific attention to causing affliction to other people. We're a nuisance. We put them in hardships away. There's pain, grief, despair, and misfortune, punishment, condemnation. We sentence them without knowing the truth. We scourge, we torment, we torture. We present terror, toil, bondage, deformity, abnormality, I'm gonna pay you back language, hindrance, difficulty. We become a stumbling block, interfering where we shouldn't interfere. We're holding up progress. We're placing predicaments of confusion and chaos on our community. And we are the ones protecting. Well, y'all said that's enough bad news. How are we gonna fix this, right? So let's see if we can work this out. I had the privilege on Monday night to watch Oprah's live class with Tony Robbins. And if you missed it, I encourage you to watch it because he gave some interesting perspectives on it, but I'm gonna put Mable's twist on it, okay? And the first thing he said, if you want to change anything, is to have a strategy. Now, we all know that a strategy is a plan of action, right? But I'm saying that it determines how you are going to deal with the challenges that are presented to you day to day. And if you decide you want to be a control freak, y'all met any of those? Right? A manipulator, right? Or someone who totally wants to use their authority or power in the wrong way, then your strategy probably won't work when we try to prevent child abuse. However, if you say, I want to seek advice from people who've done this kind of work, I want to be involved in the community, I want to speak up and stand up, then you are presenting a strategy. Simple strategy. Just to speak up, just to stand up, just to hear your voice so someone else might be saved. We get to do this every day at CASA. We get to speak up for children. We make parents very angry. Can you imagine? Because they want us to be on their side and we're on the child's side because everybody that has a child doesn't know how to parent a child. And so we have to bring those things to light. And then, if we could only forgive, isn't forgiveness powerful? And forgiveness is more for us than it is for the person we're forgiving because it sets us free from the bondage they place on us. So if I could just forgive my neighbor or even an abuser, I begin to set myself free to do the work that we are called to do. That would be true of all of you. Isn't that a terrific strategy? Yeah. Now the other part of this is that you have a story to tell. And you tell your story either by the confidence you have or by the lack of confidence you have. For instance, if I, in my job, walked in every day and I met Teresa and I said, "Hi, Teresa, I'm Mable Finney, nice to meet you." But then I saw her on the street and I said, "Hi, Teresa." People have two stories. We have the professional story and we have our private stories. And the professional stories will do what's obligated, but in our personal stories, we tend to shy away because we think we're being judged in a way that we may not even be judged. You gotta choose life. How can you live if you live in fear all the time? When I was going back to school, I was much larger than I am now. So to build my confidence, I took a public speaking class. It sounds crazy, right? Why would I do that? Because I felt like if I could stand in front of people in my not so nice clothes and give a speech at the weight I was at, when I began to lose it, I would then be able to really be powerful. That was my thought. That's part of my story. But if I listened to everybody who spoke to me, who said to me, you're not going to do anything, be anything, you'll never go anywhere, you never have anything. When we adopt those types of thoughts, we are saying to the person who's putting them on us, you rule me. Choose life. You got to live a life that's good for you and good for your neighborhood and good for your family, but most of all because your Creator said you are worth it to have a life that is free of all the burdens that get placed on you day in and day out. You're that powerful in who you are. The third point he made was that you have to have a statement. Now, let's say Nancy and I have grown to be friends, And I tell Nancy whatever I'm thinking. She tells me whatever she's thinking. And that's a good relationship, right? So the statement would be that out of my ability to be bold and confident, I made a great friend. But let's say that's not what I did. I chose to shy away from her. Because after all, she is beautiful, right? All right, Tracy. She is beautiful. And she's talented and she's intelligent. And for the longest time, I didn't want to be around people like her because I didn't think I matched up. But then one day, I figured, looking back on my high school picture, Tracy, I said I was right cute. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. People would tell me, you're beautiful. I would go, really? You know, but as I've grown up, I see a beauty that I didn't see when I was 17. You know, I chose to live my life. I don't care how often we see an abused child. Give them an opportunity to have something that'll give them some strategies. If you don't say anything but I love you, right? I want you to be a good person. In the help, she says you are smart, you are beautiful, and what's the other one? You are important. Yeah. Oh wow, why did somebody tell me that? Right? At the age she began to instill that in the child she was taking care of. Why didn't somebody tell us that? Right? Because most of us were waiting to hear, you're smart, you're special, you're beautiful, you're important. We were waiting. And then we got to the age we don't care. Right? We don't care. Most of us have grown accustomed to our faces. And we just want to be healthy. And we just want to be happy. So choose life. Not just for you, but for the community we serve. Thank you.